Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the May 4th, 2015 regular meeting of the Milford Board of Aldermen. Would you please join me as we salute our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Secretary, will you please take the roll?
Alderman Anderson.
Present.
Alderman Beer. Alderman Casey.
Here.
Alderman Fontana. Here. Alderman Gurman. Alderman Genatasio.
Here.
Alderman Golden. Alderman Hardeman. Alderman Kubek. Alderman Shaw. Alderman Smith. Alderman Stanford. Alderman Vaccarelli. Alderman Vitro.
Here.
Alderman Vitale. 14 present, Mr. Chairman.
14 present. We do have a quorum. At this time, the mayor has a presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I would ask that our city clerk, Joanne Rurig, join us at the podium. The week of May 3rd through May 9th, 2015 is City Clerks Week in the city of Milford, and in recognition of the important work that the City Clerk's office does, we do have an official proclamation. The City Clerk's office is a time-honored profession, and they do good work. They are the hub of information for the entire city of Milford. One of the things that I'm often known as saying is that for a lot of people, their first impression with Milford government is at the City Clerk's office. A lot of times their only impression of Milford City government is at the City Clerk's office. So there is never a second chance to make a good first impression, and we are very thankful and grateful for the good work and the good public face that the City Clerk's office has in Milford. And in recognition, we do have a proclamation which reads, whereas the office of the municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the office of the municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the office of the municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at all levels, and whereas the municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all, and whereas the municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community, and whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, province, county, and international professional organizations. And whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the municipal clerk. Now, therefore, I, Benjamin Blake, Mayor of the City of Milford, on behalf of all the citizens of Milford, do hereby proclaim the week of May 3rd through May 9th, 2015 as Municipal Clerks Week in the City of Milford, and further extend our appreciation to our municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the community they represent. Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone, for this proclamation. It's my honor to serve as the city clerk in Milford, and I'd like to invite you all this week. We are serving refreshments all week long, just to honor all the public that comes in there. So, and we're also collecting donations from the Animal Control Center, so anyone who would like to contribute, we'd be most thankful. Thanks again for all this, and thank you to my staff. They're a wonderful set of women in there. I couldn't be more appreciative of all the work they do. Thank you.
The next portion of the meeting is devoted to public comment. Statements are limited to the legislative function of the Board of Aldermen. The time limit granted to each speaker shall be 3 minutes. Residents, taxpayers, and electors may address the board at this time. The board encourages speakers not to express derogatory, insensitive, or offensive statements or to engage in personal attacks against individuals. In order to allow everyone an opportunity to speak, I'd ask that everyone please limit their comments to 3 minutes. Anyone wanting to address the board at this time, please take the address at the podium.
Good evening. My name is Ann Berman. I live at 77 Pelham Street. I'm here to address 2 issues. First, though, I would like to say that the board's past history has performed very well in its support for the many environmental issues that have come before you in the past and the present and from both sides of the aisle. First, I would just like to mention a few. The city has supported Earth Day celebrations for at least 2,000 that I know of, and you have supported the cleaning up of the Sooty 6 power plants. You embraced the 2020 Clean Energy Campaign, and you voted for cleaning up the diesel from the school buses, and also voted for to stop the truck and car idling bill. And very important, the board passed in 2002 the nation's first, a resolution in support of voluntary non-use of pesticides and synthetic fertilizers on lawns and gardens by the citizens of Milford. It was not long after when the environmentalists of Connecticut formed a coalition to get a bill to ban the use of pesticides on schoolyards and playing fields for kindergarten through 8th grade. It was just the other day when it was reported to Steve Johnson that a pesticide sign appeared on one of the city's baseball playing fields. These fields are managed by the Little League Association. These fields, unfortunately, have fallen through the cracks. They were not included in the ban for the use of pesticides, unfortunately. The landscaper using a herbicide is using a herbicide. Most people think herbicides are safe, but they are considered as toxic as pesticides. The only herbicide that is safe is when they use vinegar. This is where I can unequivocally say how important it is to have Steve Johnson at the helm for protecting particularly our children. But not just that, it's important for the environment and the health of all of us. A department for the environment is needed and should be considered as important as a Department of Health and Inland Wetlands. Steve Johnson has brought over $2.2 million in the last 2 years for grants for the city for which the citizens are reaping the benefit. Steve should be paid commensurate for the value of his work, which is, in my opinion, invaluable. I cannot urge you strongly enough that he be placed on a salary and placed in the budget. Secondly, though, I would like to mention how shocked we were when we found out that only 15% of the city is recycling properly. That is a failing grade. Being non-compliant, we are losing money by this, and if we continue this way, there is a threat that we will be fined for contaminating the recycling material that goes to the recycling station. If you have lost your sticker, and I'm saying this because I hope that this is on television because people don't always get newspapers, but sometimes they do listen to this on TV. So what I'm saying is that if you've lost your sticker showing the items, call Public Works and get a copy, or go online where it should be listed. One item that you can recycle, I have on good authority, you can recycle your pizza boxes, even the bottom where it's usually stained. Cardboard is a hot item for making money. You should not be putting clothing of any kind in the garbage or in the green bins. Goodwill will accept clothing of any kind, if it's even damaged, ripped, or stained. If you can't drive there, please call Big Brothers and Sisters. Their phone number is, and I'm going to show you the card, is 877-399-2570, and they will pick it up at your doorstep. And hopefully the newly formed ad hoc recycling committee will help in educating you about the ins and outs of recycling so that we can do a better job. And thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Milton. I live at 32 Elm Street. And the first question I'd like to ask you and people of Milford is, do we really need open space? Do we really need our natural resources? Do we need to protect them once we have them? And do we need money to procure them? If the answer is yes, we do need to protect them, then who's going to do that protection? You're probably aware that a lot of the people who have been fighting for open space for decades is a growing population, is an aging population. We're in our late 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and we need somebody to mind the store. We need a natural resource manager. To do that, and if we don't have anyone, if the city doesn't have anybody in the budget to mind the store, then there won't be any store. If we value our natural resources, and if we value our open space, then we need someone to protect them. But the irony is that we're using the money to buy open space to protect it. It's a zero-sum game. We're not coming out ahead. I know that that the question has been raised, is this an essential position? Well, it's not always a visible position. The good it does is not always seen on the surface. When we talk about green infrastructure, we're very often talking about things that go on under the surface, the wetlands and the waterways and the things that we need to protect in order to protect the surfaces. The natural resource manager, how does he do this? How does he or she do this? Someone needs to be researching and monitoring and educating the public about the value of these spaces. And somebody who's going to have to be doing this for years to come. So I really hope that you'll be willing to put this position into the city budget, because it's a position that requires consistency and continuity over the years. It can't be, well, a seasonal employee. I've worked with a lot of seasonal employees, interns from the forestry school or various local colleges, and they leave. And what we need is somebody who will stay and continue to bring in money to the city. Who benefits from this? Obviously, the taxpayer benefits from this. And in two surveys, one done by the Environmental Concerns Coalition in the 90s and one done more recently by the Open Space Advisory Committee, the citizens of Milford have, or the majority of them, over 80%, have agreed to pay extra money, pay extra tax dollars in order to preserve Milford's open space. Thank you very much.
Would anyone else like to address the board at this time? Seeing no, Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item number 3, consideration of minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the Board of Aldermen held April 6, 2015.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. There was no special meeting. Under Chairman's report, I would just like to simply say I hope everyone enjoys the upcoming Mother's Day. Remember our mothers in a special way. And The weather is finally with us, so we want to just come out there and enjoy it. Agenda item number 6, the mayor's report and recommendations. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I would like to take a moment to give a special welcome to the Parent Leadership Training Institute's class of 2015 who are here to watch, I think, democracy in action. And I would also like to, in addition to City Clerks Week, it is also Teacher Appreciation Week. So for everyone who has been inspired by a teacher or comforted by a teacher or mentored by a teacher, please take the extra moment to thank a teacher for all they've done for you, for your children, for generations of Milfordites who have been successful. So please take a moment to appreciate the teachers this week. And with respect to your agendas, I respectfully request your consideration and action on those items 8A through 8B. It's a short one tonight, so hopefully that's appreciated by all of you folks, especially after a long month of budget meetings. So if you have any questions during the pendency of tonight's meeting, feel free to ask either myself or a member of the city staff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There is no unfinished business. We're moving on to new business. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item number 8A.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request per the attached recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Board dated April 23rd, 2015 for the sale of 71 Ardmore Road, and to authorize the mayor and the city's attorney's office to take all steps necessary, including signing all documents to effectuate said sale.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Alderman Gurman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the mayor. What will be the process of the sale here, or to attorney?
It's being put out through an 8-24, and it's going to be auctioned off similar to what we've done in other properties. Bittersweet is the most recent examples where it's put out to bid usually on a Saturday at high noon. There's a period of time for people to inspect the property. It'll be advertised appropriately, and there will be a deposit. I'm not sure. Usually it's either $10,000 or 10% of the assessed value of the appraised value of the property. That the prospective bidders will have to bring in that certified or bank check in order to be considered for bidding. So that will be announced in an open and notorious fashion and publicly advertised.
And just one follow-up: is this the property that the house was torn down or demolished?
Last month, you approved the city of Milford to go out and contract for the demolition of this property. A winning bidder has been identified. It went through the bidding process. The house, as of today, has not been taken down. The city is still contemplating whether to take the house down and leave the foundation, or demolish the house completely. So that's the only determination that still has to be arrived at through our Public Works Department and our city building officials. And that should happen very shortly.
Alderman Giannattasio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Mayor Blake or the city attorney. My question is, what's the anticipated cost of the demo with the foundation being removed or versus without? And what's the anticipated sale price of the property? What's the market value of the lot?
It went out to bid. There was a $36,000 low bidder that came in. That's with everything being removed, inclusive of the foundation. It has not been, to my understanding, been repriced without the removal of the foundation. If the city decides to leave the foundation in place because it's an anticipated better value, we'll report back to you that that figure has changed, if it does.
Is that the understanding, that you feel it's going to be more valuable with the existing foundation in place? Is that what you're being told from your
There has
city
been that
department?
recent discussion, but a final analysis is still underway.
And what about the value of the lot once the house is demoed?
Again, this is for the pendency of sale. We may not want to get into final figures. I mean, you can go to the assessor's field card, and it will show you. It shows you the existing structure. But again, this is going to be something that's going to be bargained or negotiated. If you want to enter into executive session to talk about some of the finer points, we can certainly do that. We can give you the assessed value, but in terms of getting into the details of what the city evaluates the fair market value to be, may in some way jeopardize the auction that will happen.
Just to follow up, Mr. Chairman, through you to the city attorney, are you at liberty, Mr. Burcham, to give us the assessed value?
I'm certainly at liberty. I don't know off the top of my head. I know it's not, I don't believe it's in your agenda. I can find out and get back to you. I'm sure that we are going to get bids to cover the cost of the demolition. As I'm sure you're aware, I know I wasn't at last month's meeting, but this was a property that we foreclosed on the tax liens, but it was also a blighted property, had blight liens on it as well. It was deemed unsafe. So our immediate goal was to get control of the property one way or the other. The tax lien foreclosure action was the most expedient. I'm confident that the sale of the lot will reimburse the city for the cost of the demolition. I suspect that it will be in excess of the low bid, and I'll get you the assessed value forthwith.
When you referred to the cost of the demo, are you going to market this along with the cost of the demo? Is that going to be added into the sale price?
It won't be added into the sale price. It'll be a lien that the buyer is going to have to pay off. It'll be, if for example the lot is $100,000 and the demo costs $30,000, the $30,000 will be reimbursed in the account that this board set up to allow us to take action in this manner.
Is there any particular reason why the assessed value isn't in our agenda? Is there any reason for that not being before us this evening?
We can get, I mean, again, it's as simple as going on to vision appraisal and seeing what the field card says. Again, that may not be a true and accurate representation of what the value is at this point. It may be stale. We can ask our city assessor who's with us today to weigh in. Again, I don't think he brought that particular file with him.
The only reason why I make that point is because you're saying, on the other hand, that we're going to open up the bids at 10% of the assessed value. Is that, or the bids, people are going to have to secure 10% of the assessed value in order to bid. So we don't necessarily know what the assessed value of the lot is, so we don't even know how much people are going to have in secured funds in order to participate in the bid. So I think that should have been included in the agenda.
I said, when you asked about the process for sales of this nature, I talked about auctions, and I said either the 10% or $10,000. Houses that are distressed, houses that don't necessarily reflect the appraised value or the value that's set by the assessor's office. For example, Bittersweet, it's a $10,000 deposit in lieu of the 10%. In this case, it would likely, if not definitely, follow suit because it is a distressed property, a property where we're going to demolish the house.
I just would like to see that moving forward. I think we need to be transparent. We have people here that are witnessing government in action tonight, and I think this is something that should have been added in regards to this agenda item.
Mr. Giantasio, it's something that if you take out your phone or you look in the computer, you can go to the Vision Appraisal website. It's on the website in an open and notorious manner. All you need to do is go to the city website or Vision Appraisal, type in the address, and you could get what the appraised value is, the fair market value. It's not something that we're hiding. If it's something that you'd asked me, prior to the meeting, it's something I could have given you an answer very quickly. It's something that you, sitting there with a phone that has data capability, could look up right now.
Mayor Blake, your point is well taken. That's why I think it should be in the agenda. I don't think it's up to the board members to have to go through that extra step to find that information. We're all elected officials and we're here representing the people, so we should have the information in front of us. You set the agenda, and I believe that that's part of your responsibility to make sure that that information is part of this specific agenda item. If you're going to sell a piece of property, you need to know what the assessed value is. You need to have some guideline of what the property is worth in value. You're asking us to sell a piece of property that we have no recollection, we have no information about what the property is actually worth or what it's assessed for, and you're asking us to spend more time to find that information. That's okay for the public, but not for elected officials that have an agenda item before them that are ready to vote. This is something that should be included.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not really sure I understand Alderman Giannatasio's sentiments on this. We had a leadership meeting to set this agenda, and Alderman Giannatasio was at that meeting. We looked at these items and we discussed them at length. If there was a question to be asked, that certainly would have been a good time to ask, but as we all know, that anything on this agenda, if you have any questions, you certainly have an open door policy to call any one of the officials, and you have the time allotted to you because the agendas are served to you early enough, whereas if you have any questions, that's the time to call and ask our elected officials here if you have those questions. So, I mean, to come tonight and say, well, to ask these questions, there has been ample amount of time to get these answers, not just on your own, but to simply ask any of our elected officials. So, while you might not be able to get the answer right now, you clearly have had ample amount of time to get these answers.
Just to follow up, Mr. Chairman, through you to Alderman Vecchiarelli, yes, we do have a leadership meeting. We don't go into detail. We go over the agenda as far as what's included in the agenda, and this is a question that would come up at the meeting process, which we are at here tonight, and I just think that the prudent thing is it should be in the agenda, and I would like to see that information. If we're going to sell city property, we should at least have the assessed value of the property before us at the night of the meeting or in the agenda. And if it's not in the agenda, okay, fine, but Mayor Blake still doesn't have the assessed value of the property with him this evening, and that's what I'm requesting at this time. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, as a point of clarification, the fair market value, the appraised value of the property alone without the structure is $116,160. Again, absent clairvoyance, I can't think of all the questions that can be asked in a particular meeting or all the information that might be required. If there is information that any board member would like prior to making a decision, I'm happy to find you that information, happy to tap the appropriate department head or city employee who is best positioned to provide that information. In the future, please feel free to give me a call, shoot me an email, stop by, and I'm happy to provide any information that's relevant to an agenda item and will help you make those decisions. But again, for point of clarification, $116,160 $160 is the appraised or fair market value for the property alone without a structure on it as of 2013.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the added information. Is there any more discussion on the motion? Alderman Gurman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the mayor. So the demolition cost, or low bid, is $36,000. Would it make sense to auction it off and have the new buyer take that down and pass that cost on to the new buyer?
I'll allow the city attorney's office to answer that question more fully. However, our city building official, as well as our public works department, did inspect the property, and they did evaluate it for its structural integrity, and they made the determination that it should come down. From a risk management perspective, I would have to investigate further to determine whether it would be more of a liability to sell it as a distressed structure, or what the potential risks could be during the pendency of the sale, even to have that structure be in distress. So I can't answer that for you without the assistance of the city attorney.
Mr. Chair, through you to Alderman Gurman, I think the mindset going in, Alderman Gurman, was to address the blight and the volume of complaints that we had received from the neighbors because the house had fallen in such disrepair. There were holes in the roof. There were animals, rodents going in and out, and the neighbors were concerned about the integrity of their properties. So from our perspective, once we got control via the foreclosure, our building official then went in and investigated the structural integrity of the home. It was his opinion that the house should come down, and that's why we sought your permission, this board's permission, for demolition. In terms of market value, I don't know, I'm not a real estate expert, whether it has more value to a prospective bidder with the structure as is or the structure gone. My best, in my estimation, and what we're hearing, is that the best value and the fastest way is for it to be demolished and sold as a buildable lot. That would address both the neighbors' concerns as well as get the city reimbursed for the cost of the demolition. That's the mindset that we tackled this issue on.
Thank you.
Alderman Vitale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through the mayor, is this hasn't been up yet? Is it going to be an open auction, or live auction, or a closed bid?
It will be a live auction.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any more discussion on the motion? Alderman Gurman.
Just one more follow-up. Do we have a date on that yet?
No. We need your board to weigh in and give us a final approval before we can move forward as part of the 824 process.
And Mr. Chair, through to Alderman Gurman, we also need to get the house taken down. Find out, again, I know we raised it early in this discussion, whether or not we could take the house down and leave the existing foundation, whether that is A, cheaper to demolish that, and B, whether that makes the property more attractive in terms of its marketability. That prospective bidders would want the foundation intact. So we're going to work with the building official as well as Public Works to assess, A, is the foundation itself sound, and B, whether the low bidder would have a reduced price based upon just taking down the structure but leaving the foundation.
Thank you, Mr. Bertram. Any more discussion? Alderman Casey.
Through you to the city attorney, the fair market value of $116,160, is that the appraisal that was conducted for the foreclosure action?
It's just that's our assessor's office.
Okay, so
I have the figures on the foreclosure. I can get you that appraisal.
There was an appraisal obviously done for the foreclosure.
For the foreclosure,
action.
yes.
And filed with the court, I assume, right?
It's been filed with the court.
And there's no protection for that appraisal. That's out in the public.
There's no protection of that appraisal, and anybody that would bid on this property, there would be signage, there would be public notices, both on our website, there would be notices at the property, and be hard pressed to find any interested bidders that don't do their homework to try to figure out, you know, what the market value is for it.
Alderman Giannattasio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Mayor Blake. Mayor Blake, ultimately, who would be making the decision on whether to leave the foundation or remove the foundation?
Likely the Public Works Director, on the advice of the city building official and other folks from the Public Works Department.
I just, from my experience, I don't see any value in leaving the foundation. I think people don't want to be, you know, restricted to that footprint. I think it might be more advantageous to remove it, but that's just my opinion. Thank you.
Any more discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8B.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached temporary right of entry with the state of Connecticut, excuse me, for the railroad right-of-way known as the New Haven Main Line located at River Street Train Trestle Bridge, and to authorize the mayor, community development director, and the city attorney to take all steps necessary, including signing all documents to effectuate said agreement.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Alderman Shaw.
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to, through you to the mayor, is this the Welcome to Milford initiative? And I don't see Julie, but could you expand about what this will look like? And
Sure. This is for signage and facade improvements to the River Street train trestle. What's before you tonight is the required legal mumbo-jumbo from the Department of Transportation, who maintains that railroad trestle and that overpass. And this is allowing the city of Milford to do work on that site. And particularly, this will allow us to put a Welcome to Downtown Milford sign up. As you recall, this is facade improvements. We secured a Town Aid Road grant to pay for this. We are also working with MPI to do some mural projects down underneath the trestle. It's going to open up that downtown and have a more inviting gateway to our shops and our restaurants so that folks can eat and dine and play downtown without a railroad trestle that looks like a old rusted structure. I guess it's not old rusted structure, it's called weathered steel, but it has the appearance in our beautiful downtown of being an old rusted structure. So this will dress it up, make a cleaner, more inviting appearance to really the whole downtown gateway.
Mr. Chairman, can I just one follow-up? Do you have a time frame on this?
I believe it's the signage component over the downtown train trestle should be completed within a month, pending your approval this evening.
Alderman Kubek.
Yes, just a quick question to the mayor. Is the signage going to be on both sides of the trestle?
At this point, no. This will only be at the on the side if you're looking at the train trestle from City Hall.
Okay, thank you.
Going south.
Any more discussion on the motion? Alderman Anderson.
I just wanted to offer my support for the proposal. I've followed its development for some time. It's an idea that has been out there for a number of years. really took hold when Alan Plattis had a number of meetings with the community to talk about improvements to the downtown area. One of the things that he mentioned, or that was contained within the report that came out of the series of meetings, was a traffic calming at the intersection in New Haven Avenue, River Street. So hopefully we'll be able to see some other aspects of that report realized in the future. But I particularly wanted to acknowledge and commend Julie Nash, Paige Miglio at the Milford Arts Council, MPI of the Chamber, former state rep, James Maroney, who all worked to make this happen. And I'm very pleased to support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Anderson. Alderman Vitale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through to the mayor. Mr. Mayor, although it's one way coming north, but you do come around Daniel Street, would there be consideration of thank you for visiting our downtown or something like that?
That could be a phase two. This phase one is just for that one side that will likely be more visible because, again, the majority of traffic flows southward.
It would be nice on the other side, too, to say thanks for visiting. Something. Thank you.
Absolutely open to that opportunity down the road.
Any more discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 9, there is no new business. Agenda item 10, moving on to budget memo transfers. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item number 10A.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the budget memo transfers, number 9 and 10, Fund 10 and 12, FY15.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Agenda item 11, moving on to refunds. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item number 11A.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the refunds in the amount of $37,430.12.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Agenda item number 12, reports of standing committees. Are there any reports?
Mr. Chairman.
Alderman Anderson.
Both Alderman Gurman and myself, along with you, hosted members of this body with representatives that presented materials on the pay-as-you-throw program. There is a follow-up for those who are interested in seeing the refuse operations in a couple of municipalities in Massachusetts, Worcester and North Attleboro being the two communities that will be visited, and arrangements are being made for a trip on May 30th for anyone who has an interest in joining us. And it's my belief that our Public Works Director, Chris Saley, will be available on that date as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Anderson, for that information.
Mr. Chair, just a question.
Alderman Vitale.
Alderman Anderson, that's a Saturday, the 30th, I believe.
Is there any more reports of any standing committees? Seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item number 13, special committees. Is there any reports from any standing committees? Seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item number 14, executive session. I will entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss 14A, consideration of settlement of KC Propco LLC versus City of Milford regarding 39 Wellington Road. Item number 14B, consideration of settlement of Drill Masters Realty LLC versus City of Milford, 1040 Boston Post Road. Item 14C, consideration of settlement of Drill Masters Realty, LLC versus City of Milford regarding 332 Boston Post Road. And last item would be 14D, consideration of settlement of TVJL Incorporated versus City of Milford regarding 238, 258, and 266 Boston Post Road. Joining us in executive session will be the Mayor, Ben Blake, the City Attorney, John Bertram, and City Assessor, Dan Thomas. Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We are out of recess, and we're out of executive session. Alderman Vecchiarelli.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to authorize the city to accept consideration of settlement of KC Propco LLC versus City of Milford regarding 39 Wellington Road in accordance with the recommendations of the City Assessor and the City Attorney as discussed in executive session.
Motion was made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, 14B.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to authorize the city to accept consideration of settlement of Friendly Ice Creams, NKA, Amicus, Wind Down Corp. Versus City of Milford regarding 1040 Boston Post Road in accordance with the recommendations of the City Assessor and City Attorney as discussed in executive session.
Motion is made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, item number 14C.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to authorize the city to accept consideration of settlement of Drill Masters Realty, LLC versus City of Milford in regards to 332 Boston Post Road in accordance with the recommendations of the City Assessor and City Attorney as discussed in executive session.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, item 14D.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to authorize the city to accept consideration of settlement of TVJL Inc. versus City of Milford regards 238, 258, and 266 Boston Post Road in accordance with the recommendations of the City Assessor and City Attorney as discussed in executive session.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I just want to make an announcement. Our next budget deliberations will be next Monday, May 11th. Next Monday, May 11th at 7 o'clock. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Just a question before we adjourn. Is that a set, I know we were talking to the mayor, but there seems to be a lot of issues here because it's so soon with caucusing and I don't know. I just thought it was a little bit too soon.
There are 4 dates that have been scheduled and reserved as part of the budget process. This Wednesday likely will be too soon. If there's a consensus, this Wednesday is a date that I'm available. But from the feedback that I got, most people, that was too soon. The following date is May 11th, then May 14th, and then May 18th. We need to reserve at least 2 dates just in case. I would say, to be on the safe side, 3. There was several people that had a conflict for the 14th, so I think May 11th is probably the safest bet. But again, we can, if there's additional discussion, we can certainly re-announce it to the members of the board and the public.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the motion to adjourn, you have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion is made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?